It's time for the next episode of the Chronicles of George series. As we have been watching this together for the last few weeks, I really feel like we are watching the 7 stages of grief of this man going through the breakup of his marriage. Some of you guys can help me identify some of these things that he's gone through, but he's gone through shock. His marriage broke up. He really didn't feel like his wife was going to leave him. So he was shook. Denial. He's like, dude, after she calms down, she's going to come back. Then he's having anger issues. We've seen the anger. He is lashing out. He's lashing out at the heirlooms. He's lashing out at the piano. That he's bargaining. He's like, he doesn't realize what's going on. He's talking to the lawyers. People are trying to bargain with them. This is definitely where he's feeling guilt and shame. We can see this playing out in his actions. The depression. We saw that at the cookout. Someone mentioned Evelyn at the cookout, and then he started drinking. He's in the hospital. I don't know if he is gone through acceptance of this process, of this, 7 stages of grief, if he's processing it yet. But this next episode is where he is about to head home. So this one is called George Heads Home. So this may be a break. This may be signaling a break in this series. Evelyn still hasn't come home yet, but the series may go on hiatus. So in the previous episode, he was talking or texting his daughters saying that he wanted to have a traditional Thanksgiving dinner. And everybody in my comments was like, no, no, no. And the boss man in this situation was talking to the daughters, got a message to Evelyn. And this commenter says, I'm just thankful that everyone has the sense to take precautions around this escalating behavior. So everybody, from the people that are in my comment section to the people around him, recognize that this is not looking good. Now to today's episode. Miss Sassy says, I have an update. However, possibly before a break. I just got in about 20 minutes ago. Mrs. M told me our boss won't be in until the middle of next week. George's oldest daughter reached out to his family, as in George's family, and told them everything. George agreed to go down to North Carolina for a while, where he's originally from. So when I said that the story might go on hiatus, this is why, because George is going to North Carolina. George is taking a break. George understands, or at least his family understands, that he needs to get away. Mrs. M told me George spoke to his lawyer yesterday, and the lawyer thinks it's an excellent idea. Then Evelyn can get her things out of the house and not worry about any interference from George. The lawyers will request pictures and an itemized list of what Evelyn takes from the home and or claims is hers, plus another list for things she's requesting, which we are all assuming Evelyn and her lawyer will agree to. Mrs. M also told me all of this is after George had a massive meltdown when confronted by family members who live here, his oldest daughter and her husband. He wasn't violent, didn't even yell, apparently, just looked defeated and sobbed uncontrollably, curled up in a ball, couldn't say a word. I think she said he was hyperventilating at some point. Needed to breathe into a paper bag. The whole works. He's going down to Charlotte and going to stay with his mother, who wholeheartedly agreed to take him in. I had to ask Mrs. M if she knew how old George's mom is. She says she's 82 or 83. I'm imagining this old woman taking care of her aging son like he's still a child. Her instantly agreeing to take in her 57-year-old son with no reservations tells me everything I need to know about why George is the way he is. P.S. Mr. Fabulous and I filled in our soon-to-be permanent Temp. Said, please choose a different character name. He said, I'm already white. Brandon is what Trump supporters say. Let's go, Brandon. He says, how about Kyle? He's my favorite South Park character. So the temp, the white temp, who is soon to be permanent, is no longer Brandon. It is hilarious that all of these people are actively engaging in my story, even though they don't comment because obviously they don't want it to come back to who they really are. But his name is Kyle. Kyle is still pretty white, but it's not Brandon, it's Kyle. Anywho, coming back to this picture that I originally spoke about, the fact that George is breaking down crying, and I think that he is fully grasping where he is in his life. Almost 60, no real adult skills. His wife has left him. His children are pulling away from him. I think that he is probably at number 5, where, is like he's already gone through bargaining. He's probably in the depression stage. And what I think is that there are going to be a lot of Georges like this. There's going to be a lot of people like this because folks are not treating their loved ones well. They're not treating their relationships very well. And so it's going to be a process because I think this is not new. What is new is women walking away from these relationships where women are no longer accepting being treated like this, where women are saying, no, you're going to either participate in your life, you're going to treat me well, you're not going to cheat, or I'm going to leave for my own mental health sake. How many men that are currently living right now, about to hit their 40s and 50s, and recognizing that they need a nurse and a purse? We have talked about so many of these situations. We've talked about it here on my pages. The nurse and the purse phenomenon, the hospice hustlers looking for people because they have not cultivated relationships. All of these things are culminating into a situation where we're going to see more men sobbing uncontrollably or becoming angry, lashing out. So we've been talking about this series, and at first it started out like, this bumbling fool can't do anything. But now it's turning into more of a real life situation, and all of the things that we talk about with gray divorce, with these people dying alone. This is where the origin stories of these men who have died alone with no family members because of acting like this. And so, I think that we are coming around full circle and seeing real life in action. But you guys go ahead and weigh in. Are you seeing this? Have you seen a shift in where society is? What do you guys think about this? Go ahead, jump in the comment section. Tell me what you think. Like, comment, share. I appreciate everybody's support and weighing in in the comment section. If you have not yet hit subscribe, go ahead and do it.